Hello, I'm Dalia.
And I'm Alma. This is Nightmare on Fifth Street, a horror movie podcast.
Hello, everybody. Today we have a very special guest. We have Cezil Reed. I want to do a shout out real quick to Sheree for connecting us. Thank you, Sheree. Just to give you a heads up, I don't know what's going on my end. I never have problems. So Alma, if I go out, just follow the outline and keep going, and I'll pop back in when I can. That way we don't waste any of your time, Cezil. I don't want to do that. So
it's okay. I made sure I blocked everything out. I don't have anything to do. If you want this to be a 4-hour podcast, I'm ready to make it work.
We have a problem with that because we go on and on. We have to shut ourselves up.
It's all good. I have nothing to do.
Okay, we've had like over 2-hour shows where it's like a movie that was like an hour long, and we're like, why are we still talking here?
We're still talking. Yeah. Let's go ahead and let's introduce our guest by reading his bio. Alma, could you read Cezil's bio for us?
Oh, sure. Cezil is a WGA screenwriter and director who prides himself on testing his mind with new challenges. He's tackled achievements such as doing 1,000 push-ups and running 48 miles in less than 48 hours. I've done that once in a year. He studies martial arts, not so much for self-defense, but to challenge the mind. He specializes in all things tech, sci-fi, and pushing the mind, body, and spirit to the limits. He has an interest in characters with special ops training, working in highly classified units such as DevGru and Delta Force. He's highly influenced by the X-Men and the Matrix. Love it. Exploring tech is his thing. He has an interest in NFTs, DeFi, and blockchain technologies. He's deep into anything related to the simulation theory. He says, I would have become an astrophysicist, but my math skills are subpar. However, I still can enjoy a starry night full of constellations. He carries 14 years of production experience, having worked from a few dozen films, sold 2 feature scripts, produced 2 features, both genre. The first film, The Taking, was an official selection at Sitges, and The Butcher Shop script was an official selection on the Frontier co-production market at the Fantasia International Film Festival. Oh my gosh, this is so much. I love it. Lastly, your script, Old Dog, was a finalist in the Screencraft Film Fund.
Absolutely.
That's quite the bio. Like, I like the way Alma said that. Everything you said, I was like, oh my God.
It's exciting. I love it. I love to see all the things. And I was looking at even like your production, like your post-production, like a couple of your projects are in post-production right now.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that that lovely introduction. I started to feel like, gosh, did I write all that? That seems like a lot of stuff.
Like, we had more.
I need to cut that down.
No, don't do it. Whenever you have a lot, don't ever do that to yourself. I actually saw more, and I was like, oh, but I like this. This is perfect.
Okay. Thank you for
this on all bits, all around. Like bio is good because I like to know what's going on. It's like someone's interest, what inspires you, and whatnot.
I'm glad that you were my editor and helped me to be more succinct. I appreciate that.
Okay, so I see Matrix here. Are you looking forward to the new Matrix?
I am. I think the Matrix, I'm really excited to talk about it as well. I think it has more relevance today than it did back in 1999.
Okay.
It's a very, very, very fascinating concept right now, especially if you're into sci-fi stuff, simulation stuff, especially if you're into any conspiracy theory stuff. I'm not like, no. Full disclosure, I'm not QAnon. I don't want to resist that. What I'm trying to suggest, what I like, is the idea of freeing your mind, and that there may be a chosen way of doing things, and not just like every day, but I'm just talking about whatever your own personal journey is. Maybe there's a way to unlock that, to truly live the journey that you want to live. I mean, there's a quote that she says, that Trinity says in the first Matrix, when Neo's about to get out. This is in the first quarter of the movie. He's about to get out the car and walk away. And she's like, you've been down that road, Neo. You know exactly where that goes. And that to me is the representation of the red and blue pill happening just before he made the decision when he meets Morpheus. So I could talk about the Matrix in so many different levels. I love it. So
that's
I
awesome.
don't know if I don't want to get too.
Okay.
You guide it. You tell me what to do. I don't know. Like, yeah.
No, that's awesome. Okay, so lots of great stuff, lots of cool stuff you got going on. I tried to not watch everything that was on your resume because I can go down
wow.
like just
Yeah,
over
she does
research.
that.
I do.
She's like
Okay.
gonna find everything she possibly can.
Wow.
And me, I'm like, okay, let me just watch a few things because I will get overwhelmed because I will like just delve into like the whole movie
Yeah.
with one. But
Yeah.
she will try to read and watch every single like short. Oh, there's got to be another one.
Oh
And
wow.
so I saw that she did a lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
But-
Yeah, I can tell you ladies are extremely thorough in just your intake and all the emails. And I mean that in a positive way. Like
Sorry.
you all got it together. You all are true professionals. So it makes me want to step my game up.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Sweet. Thank you.
Well, I do want to talk about your journey into filmmaking because looking at your bio, you took an interesting route to come to filmmaking, but you did go to Columbia College in Chicago for filmmaking. But I saw I saw that while you were in Chicago, Spanish kind of like started calling you somehow.
Oh, yeah.
What happened there?
Soy Latino, huh? No, I like I'm like in love with Latin culture.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know exactly how that came to be,
Mhm.
but I think the moment was, and this is already before I made a decision to start learning the language.
Mhm.
When I was going to Columbia, not Columbia College, I did a summer abroad program, and I went to Mexico. I was living in Cuernavaca, and I saw the coolest black chick you could ever imagine, and she was like one of the club promoters, and she was speaking Spanish, and I just love this idea, and she's Mexican, she's Mexican, she's and I just love this idea of this variation in colors and tones that can represent what it means to be Latino. I'm not Latino myself, but I just loved the fact that there was someone who looked like me, who was just of Latin origin, and it was cool. It just blew my mind. I was just fascinated. And she was a club promoter. She, it was just cool, but she was like super popular, and she was just, I wasn't cool enough to like really have that deep of a conversation with her,
Yeah.
but it was just great. That was a very inspiring moment of just this Afro Latino mix happening, and yeah, I'm inspired by that. I think it's cool when you see people of color speaking Spanish.
And you went to Argentina, which is supposed to be one of the best places to learn Spanish. So was that strategic, or you just thought, oh, it'd be cool to go to Argentina?
Oh, that's I don't even know where you found that at, but yeah, I guess that is yeah, I did go to. I don't think that's in anything, but yeah, I was living in Buenos Aires, and I was I went there. Okay, this actually is kind of relevant.
Okay.
Because a picture is worth 1,000 words. And so I'm in college, and I'm trying to figure out, I did the whole summer in Mexico. I was trying to figure out where to next. And I go to this study abroad office, and I'm looking through all these magazines and catalogs, trying to get information, research, in this little small office on where to go next, right? And I see this catalog that says American Institute for Foreign Study. And on the cover of the catalog is a photo of 9 de Julio. So that's the 9th of July, the avenue of the 9th of July. It's hard to kind of translate, but it's 9 de Julio Avenue. And it was a photo of that avenue that's so wide, and it's so much of this cosmopolitan kind of thing. And it had these streets and city lights, and it just looked so amazing. And just looking at that cover, I said to myself, you know what? That's where I want to go. So that's how it worked out.
Well, that's a good inspiration. We were recently in Ciudad de Mexico. We went to go visit Mexico City for vacation.
Okay.
But Dalia loves to travel. And the thing is that like I base things, I'm like a very visual person, like
Sure.
where are we gonna go? And
yeah.
But Dalia, I know she dropped off the feed. She is so inspired by going places and learning a lot about other people's cultures, visiting different places and stuff like that. For me, that's why I love international films, because I like to watch movies from all around the world so you can see, hear other people's languages, their culture, delve into what interests, what's going on there, how they make them in different countries. But Dalia, she just loves to travel as well. And it's just very spontaneous. Like what you said, I know you looked at that, but it's like a spontaneous thing. It's like, hey, I'm just going to go.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was definitely it. I mean, that I saw a photo, I saw a magazine, and I was like, hey, that's where I want to go. That place looks cool. Let's do it. So that's really
awesome.
what inspired me. And I was thinking, yeah, and then, yeah, I don't know. It was just off of a picture in a catalog.
That's so cool.
Changed my life. I loved it. I thought it was great.
So, college then took you to Mexico, to Argentina, and then filmmaking. So how does that happen? I know that you work with your childhood friend. And so how did that come about?
So one of my friends, we met in middle school. And we were really good friends. Well, middle school. And then I had like this Fresh Prince of Bel-Air thing that happened. I got into a fight in middle school. And so my mom sent me to live with my dad. It was kind of one of those things. So I left that area, but then came back when I was 16. And then we became really close friends. And then we decided to form a company together because I would go back and forth from college. And he was one of the few friends who was kind of interested in what I was doing. In terms of telling stories. So we started to work together and collaborating, and I thought that was a fun experience. And and we eventually made a few movies together. We worked in doing this last one, but right now we're going kind of our separate ways. I always like to refer to, a buddy of mine referred to it as a Wu-Tang split, where they do their first album and then now everyone splits off and they do their own individual thing. So that's kind of what's happening, more or less.
Artistically, what are some of your influences?
Film-wise, right? Is that okay? I would say, it sounds so cheesy to say, but I'm going to go ahead and say it because I know typically people would get on here and they'd say a bunch of like obscure references and cool things, but that's not necessarily what pops into mind. I would say as a child, huge reference is going to be Steven Spielberg. I have to be really honest about that. And I think recently, as far as contemporaries, people that I really, watch their stuff and look up to would definitely be, individuals like Jordan Peele, Christopher Nolan, as well as, gosh, I know there's someone, who else was I about to say? I'll have to come back to that, but shout out to Nolan and Peele. I like
remember, just throw it in there. But it's great because I like what you said. Yeah, you said it's cheesy, but it isn't, because we all have something that inspires us to find what we're interested in.
Yeah.
And so like what gets you into what the behind the scenes? Like, was there like a movie that inspired you?
You're right. Okay, so let me answer that in a better way. I want to articulate this a lot better. The top 3 movies, my favorite movies that influenced me and that have kind of defined who I am. It's 3 movies. First one would be Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. The second one is going to be Motorcycle Diaries, Diarios de Motocicleta. And the third one is Amelie is, if you want to say as far as people who have really influenced me, it would be Jean-Pierre Jeunet. Like that would be someone for sure. Because I just have this very childlike, sometimes I don't show it all the times, but I am very much a 5 or 6-year-old boy at times that I like to play and joke and so those would be the 3 movies that really influenced me, and obviously those filmmakers have. But if I had to also name a 4th one, the whole Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson, that's something that's also influenced me, and also Star Wars, that would be something as well. So I know this is kind of like cliche. I think I got a few in there that are a little different.
No,
I don't know how many
not at
people
all.
are dropping Walter Sia's Motorcycle Diaries, but that's maybe where I can get some street cred. But yeah, that's
No,
just
I
the
think
truth.
that's awesome. You say it might be cliche, but there's a reason that people say those, those movies or those directors or those writers or whatever, because they do inspire, they make a difference. I love Amélie, love that movie.
Yeah, that's one of our
It's like-
favorite movies.
yeah.
It's amazing. Isn't it so wonderful, so fantastic? Don't you
Yeah.
want to live in a world like that?
Yes,
Like,
yes.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's sweet, and I can see her face all the time.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
can
one
see it
of
right
the-
now. Wait.
Yeah. Secretly,
Yeah,
those are the movies that I really want to do. Secretly,
that's
I just
awesome.
want to do a bunch of Amelie movies and play.
We'll watch them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I did see that your magical realism is something that you became interested in when you were traveling around Latin America.
Sure.
And I can see when I'm watching some of your shorts or even this movie that we're going to be talking about here in a minute, Not Alone, how you're trying to draw upon that, or at least I think. I mean, I could be seeing something that isn't there, but so magical realism. Do you remember, was it a specific movie, a book, or that kind of got that
Yeah.
interest for you?
Yeah. That's definitely coming from my time living in Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
And reading the short stories of Jorge Luis Borges,
Yeah.
and I am really amazed by magical realism, which is also something that I believe is very uniquely Latino, and that is, and I don't know why. In my research, I don't know why that kind of thought, that kind of storytelling just came out and was generated so heavily out of Latin America. Maybe that has to do with a lot of the native ancestry of those lands. I really don't know. I don't know. But it is something I'm just really amazed by, because the blending of the fantastic with the real. I think that's something that a lot of adults are constantly trying to chase, because we want it to be real, but we also want it to be magical, you know?
Absolutely.
And I think that's the great combination of the adult trying to merge with the child. And maybe that's why. And I don't know why out of Latin culture this kind of theme pops up. I have no clue on. I don't know what that is. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it is something, because like I can't speak for obviously all Latin America, but I know it's something that Alma and I talk about a lot. At least in Mexico, we it's very easy to think of something supernatural, or like you said, the fantastical, as a part of your everyday life. Like for example, Dia de los Muertos. It's not weird for us to embrace, the other side in our everyday life. And I think, at least in Mexico, we can do that very easily without it being weird. It's not weird. We can talk about that. And then I think also, just like you said, just as an adult, I at least for me personally, when I look back when I'm a child, I mean, it does kind of harken back to when you're a child, and when life was simple, even if it wasn't an easy childhood, it's still a time of of a simple life where, things should be simple, things should be magical, things should be, fun or fantastical. And I think that's why a lot of those types of books in general do well. I mean, you said Lord of the Rings. Alma loves Lord of the Rings, all those books and everything. It's comforting, I think.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I get chills when I just think. I mean, Latin American culture is so rich, especially when you think about the poets and a lot of the short stories. And yeah, it's a beautiful place. And I have no idea why that came to be with the magical realism thing, but I just love it. And so I'm constantly wondering when it comes to sci-fi or fantasy or horror, I'm constantly asking the question, what if?
Yeah.
And maybe, but not just what if, but what if it were real,
Mm-hmm.
and what would that be like? So
Yeah. And I can't wait to start talking about the movie here, because you do go into some of that
for sure.
in this movie. But real quick, I do want to talk about a couple of your shorts real quick, because
Sure, yes.
I want to know. So I'm going to talk about the short, Please. That one, oh my God. I don't know what was going on. I don't know why she's looking for her home. People watch this, please. I'm going to put links and all of this in our show notes, because you have to watch it. Is there more to the story, or are we supposed to like come up with our own story of why she's going around? It just broke my heart. That woman's story broke my heart.
Yeah, dag. Yeah, that's one that we really didn't push out too much, but I think is a little secret gem. I appreciate that you kind of got something from it, and the actress, she's a really good friend of mine, and I'll let her know that you brought that up. But yeah, it's one of I'll just kind of just start talking about it. It's really dealing with schizophrenia, and it's dealing with mental illness, and it's dealing with this confusion that people like that go through, and that is more of the horror that I think subconsciously you felt that something was wrong. You felt that things were uneasy, but it wasn't quite spelled out. And I think for people who are experiencing that, that's very much what the reality may be. I don't have schizophrenia, so I can't say exactly. But from the little stuff that I know and from the research that my actress did, her name is, I think she was going by Jade at the time. Her name's Zadra Kanapina. You all can look her up. And I think that she's from Kazakhstan, and I think that's what she was trying to embody, someone with schizophrenia and a mental illness who's just confused. So that's what that story was about.
Yeah, she hooked me in just that short amount of time. And just the way it starts, I'm just like, right away, I started getting like chills and everything. I'm like, oh gosh, this story, I don't know. And then once you said that, schizophrenia, I don't have schizophrenia. But like you said, just with reading, seeing her acting and reaction, it just seems so true, so real to me. And she's a great actress, I'm just going to say so.
Yeah.
Definitely, she did such a good job with this. And it's like I said, it's such a short. It's a short. And
yeah, it is. Yeah.
all that emotion she was able to put into the story, onto screen. It's just her. It's just her. Very little dialogue, if any. I mean, just that short little back and forth. And that was amazing. And it's kind of like with a glimpse. That was also very short.
Oh,
Did
wow,
you
you
write?
watched A Glimpse.
Yeah. Did you write that poem, prose, or what that was? Did you write it yourself, or where did that come from?
I co-wrote that with. Wow, you saw A Glimpse? Wow.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
That's I co-wrote that with a old roommate of mine.
Mhm.
Shout out to Ian Randall, and we wrote it together. But yeah,
that was like it. I'll tell you what I thought I saw. Maybe it was just because he was an older gentleman, but
Sure.
Alzheimer's type of person, maybe that's just because Alzheimer's has been on my brain lately, but that's kind of how I felt about it. But, again, I read too much into everything on my nose.
But
Yeah.
it's good to question. It's good to ask, because we like the what, why, and all that kind of.
Yeah.
Were you intending to make any of those longer, or they were just made for that type of project? For just a short.
You're right, Alma. It was just a short made for that project. But now that you're you two are analyzing it.
Oh, sorry.
Do you all know about Old Dog? I should send you this short that I made, Old Dog. Did I? What Old Dog? So you guys are really starting to pick me. I'm starting to find out about myself. This is a great therapy session. Okay, so I'm now I see what I am. Old Dog it's a short that I have a partner and I shout out to Shane Richardson, my partner. We're about to turn this into a feature-length film, but it's a short that we did. The story is going to be about this old man who's an assassin, and he's going senile and shooting the wrong people because he has dementia. Now it's a dark comedy, like but that's kind of there's a lot of mental illness. I don't know why I like writing about that, but I don't know why that is, but that's kind of what's going on with me right now.
I think it could probably I mean, I'm not a writer like you, but just a few things that I do, it's cathartic, I'm not going to speak for anyone else, but with my own mental illness, I know that if I can let out my out creatively somehow, it really does help. I wish I was as talented as you because that would be really cool if I could, but just even just letting it out somehow, I think can be very cathartic. And I wrote one script for a short, nice. and I'm figuring out what to do with it.
Yeah. Well, if you ever, want some feedback or some thoughts, my door is always open. So
I appreciate that.
For
Thank
what it's
you.
worth. Yeah.
But Old Dog sounds great. Cannot wait to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be a good one. That will be with the same actor that you saw in Not Alone, Richard Lawson.
Yes,
Lawson.
I saw that.
I noticed the name.
He's so good. He's so good. Okay, I know I'm talking a lot. Alma, just jump in if you.
Well,
if I'm
okay. Well, let's
much.
get into the movie. Okay.
Sure. Sure.
The movie Not Alone. I'm going to give a summary, and but first, we were able to view it thanks to you sending us a personal link. Is there anywhere we can watch the movie, or our audience can watch the movie where it's available?
Absolutely. So it's available just about anywhere, I would say. It's available on Amazon. It's available on Vudu. It's available on Apple. It's available. What else am I missing? Oh, Google Play. You can watch it on Google. So yeah, it's available right now. You can watch it on those places, and there may be more opportunities in the future, but our producers are looking into that a little deeper. So we'll, to be continued.
All right. Not Alone. I'll just give you a quick summary. Shelley Lawson and her family move into a beautiful southern estate, only to discover that their new home is subject to unexplainable phenomena. After her daughter Jess is sent to the hospital due to a mysterious sickness, Shelley decides to post a video online pleading for help with her recently acquired haunted house. Dr. James Clay, a once acclaimed scientist, finds Shelley's online plea and claims to be the only person in the world who can help her. All right. And where did the idea for the movie come from?
Good. It's so good.
I don't want to spoil it, but then it's like, can we spoil it?
Well, I'll try to make sure I don't spoil it for people who want to watch.
Not too much, even though we usually do that anyway.
Yeah, it's okay. You all guide me. You let me know too much. It's I've always loved astronomy. I've always loved science. And I think that's where the Amelie comes in, the idea of wonder, so in a very subtle nature. And I liked doing this idea where the scientist is the hero of because I'm trying to, but I like the idea where the scientist is coming in to save the day. Because typically, I think in movies, it's this, you get this like big, strong man who's coming in with muscles, and he's like, he's like, oh, I'm gonna fight this thing, and I kind of wanted someone, and this is probably going back to my love of superheroes. But I'm definitely influenced by the movie Unbreakable. So I like the
Mm.
idea of Elijah, the villain in Unbreakable, which is played by Samuel Jackson.
Mhm.
I like the idea of the intelligent person, of the character who
Right.
uses his mind for either good or bad to solve a story. Very much like an X-Men Xavier
Mhm.
uses his mind, his brain, and he's confined to a wheelchair. But I like the idea of someone using their brain
Mhm.
to solve problems rather than brute strength.
Right.
So I think that's where these influences of how the story came and developed and X, Y,
Mhm.
Z. Yeah.
Oh yes, I saw that a lot in the conversation that he was having with the mom when they were talking specifically about science and math, answering her questions. But
Yeah.
she has other questions more than that. But he's like the explainable what that I could definitely see in what you're saying right now. That conversation was great between those two characters when they're meeting at dinner. I think that's when they had that conversation.
Mhm.
Now, okay, well, because we're kind of a recap show, but the movie itself is fairly new, so we won't give too many spoilers.
No, and if we
But
do say
also,
spoilers, we'll put it in the show notes where you skip ahead to. So we'll
yes,
warn you
we'll
ahead
say
of
like
time.
spoiler alert. But the thing about it is because it starts off where we might say it's like a typical haunted house kind of movie. It's like, why are these people always purchasing these homes?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, for sure.
but that is why it's like I want to tell people, yes, it starts off that way, but there's more to it.
Yeah.
And right away it kind of pulled me in because it was like I knew something was happening with a little bit of information that was given throughout it. But I was like, I know that there's a twist. I know it's coming. I also read a Sheree's article from Dread Central where she's now
Yeah.
asking a lot of questions about the movie.
Yeah.
But so
Who's
we
awesome,
had
by the way.
Oh yeah, we love her. I'm so glad
Yeah.
we met her. We could talk about her all day because
Yeah.
she's awesome.
She
But
is. She's phenomenal.
and so of course we read everything that she writes. And I was like, oh no, what questions are we going to ask? Because she asked the questions that I always think of, that I was thinking of asking you. But with the characters themselves, we want to talk about the characters. The youngest daughter, and there's a
Oh, she
son.
was so good. That
She was
actress
really
is
good.
great. I
She
love
Yeah.
that
is.
actress.
You know,
I
she's in
liked
The
her.
Conjuring, right? She's in the
Yes.
third Conjuring. Okay,
Mhm.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. I was like,
yeah,
oh my gosh, now I can see. Okay.
yeah,
So she is sick in the movie
Mhm.
right away. And I was like, oh, I wonder what's sick. But I saw her coughing. I could kind of get the clue. She has cystic fibrosis
Mhm.
in the movie. But she starts to get sicker inside the house, but nobody else is sick. And I like that. That was shown right away. So everybody knows, no, it's not something around that's making her sicker. She's that way. And the family and the little boy was also, I like it when there's children in movies and they're good,
Yeah.
like actors.
yeah,
And I just thought he was so sweet and
yeah.
just like perfect for that role. I
He's
don't know.
adorable.
Yeah,
He
I was
is.
like, hey, yes, I'm so glad.
You want to cuddle him, you know?
Yes,
It's weird, but
yes.
you want to cuddle him, yeah. He's like having a little dog. Yeah, yeah, like, yeah.
Yeah, the whole I like the family dynamics. I like that the husband, sometimes the husband's kind of a doofus, but you didn't really play him off that way. I like that. He's listening to the wife because it's kind of cliche in horror movies. The husband's like kind of blows off the wife, but I like the dynamics between the relationship between the husband and wife, with the daughter and the son. It's just I thought it was done really well, that the family made sense. It wasn't kind of like, oh, that doesn't make sense. Why would they be doing that? The family made sense. And I do want to kind of touch upon real quick. And if I'm going to tell a spoiler, I'll make sure I say it. But you made the daughter have cystic fibrosis. And I found it very interesting because the few things that you put in for the character, somebody knows about cystic fibrosis, first of all, that wrote for that character. And then a little bit of spoiler alert here. I'll put it in the show notes. The way she gets cured that had a lot to do with her cystic fibrosis, which I found very interesting because of the being. Who did that?
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of little research going on. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's just research and creativity, imagination, and yeah, it makes sense that through breathing, through giving air, it's, I mean, it can go even deeper to like air is life, right? Just so it's something that comes out of the mouth, and not to get too explicit, but still with the woman in general, the mother figure, you know, bringing something out from an orifice that is also giving life. So we felt as though that kind of would work, that kind of play these kind of deeper ideas that of her giving life back to this person, which you don't know. This is all spoiler stuff, but we just feel that you know, that mothers, women, but then also even deeper than that, mothers, because I think there's a distinction in that, there's even some other kind of detail that they're so much more aware of when it comes to just the idea of life, and we wanted to celebrate that. You know, so hopefully that comes off in a positive and correct way.
I really like that, and I'm a nurse, so that's why Alma knows. I was like, the cystic fibrosis is real.
Yeah. Well, okay, so now I'm excited because with you being a nurse, you seem like, not to get too you know, have too many bad words, but I think you could call out bullshit if something medically wasn't like, okay.
Oh yeah.
Alma's really good medically too.
Don't worry. Like
we always call things that we're like, no, that's not possible.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, we do that.
But it wasn't, everything was subtle enough, so it wasn't like all in your face, but obvious enough where you could be like, okay, this is going on, that's going on. So a lot of science in this movie, and I love that. You said you wanted to be an astrophysicist, but the math wasn't there, and it's kind of funny. My daughter went to school to be an astrophysicist, and she liked the math too much, and so now, you know, so that it was the opposite of what you. But it's very interesting that you have a lot of the whatever explanation or whatever you're trying to put out there, you're backing it up with something, even if it's not completely connected. You're like, okay, if I'm going to say this, then I'm going to back it up with this real science. If I'm going to do this, I see the theoretical physics, I see that, you know, like you said, the astronomy, I see it all there. And I like that it's those little touches. It's enough so that the story makes sense, but not too much where it's like, oh God, you know, I'm not following this at all.
Yeah.
So that
it's not a Syriana 2.0. Like, yeah.
Exactly. It just made sense. It connects because because Alma, like we said, me and Alma have this really bad habit of like, well, that doesn't make sense because and so we always tell ourselves, suspend disbelief to enjoy the movie. But this one was backed up with enough stuff that we're like, okay, I'm following this. I got it. Okay. Yeah. And it was fun like that for a geek like me.
Yeah, for sure.
I like that it gave the sci-fi. I saw in some places it was listed, the movie was a psychological thriller, and I really didn't like that category. I told Dalia, I was like, I really love that it's kind of like a sci-fi monster horror, kind of like different things, but this made sense to like the person who likes to have the answers and wants the tangible, wants the science behind it. Oh, that just didn't move from there to there. This is what happened. And when that scientist was introduced and was giving that information, I was like, it just kind of blew my mind because I never thought of something like that but the way that it was introduced, because it was like, oh, that isn't just moving around. This isn't just some strange paranormal activity that we can't explain. No, there's an explanation. It's something physical. And when it went from that to that, I was like, I was just kind of like, okay, everyone be quiet. I did.
Okay.
I was like, oh man.
That's awesome. I love it.
Like, I was telling my husband, because he's really into sci-fi. And so we always try to look for the overlap in sci-fi and horror sometimes, because I know like 99% of what I watch is horror related. But anything that's like in the middle there, we will jump on. And of course, both of us enjoy fantasy and sci-fi. So I was like, oh, you're going to like this. But
okay, did he watch it with you? Did he watch it
Not
with
yet.
you? Okay.
No, not yet. Because I remember I said I was watching for the link and I
Yeah.
can't get it up on the TV. So I just had my headphones on. But I was like, look, you know, like he could hear it or something. And I'm one of those people.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
Oh, this thing. Oh my gosh. Did you see that? It's like, no, I didn't see it. I can't see it. But
that's awesome.
I loved the information that's behind, because that twist was something I wasn't expecting at all. And it was really enjoyable. That's why it's great that you said we question, or that the fun of being a child when things were all new and exciting. As adults, we're looking for that. So that those twists in this movie is what was like, that's new.
Keeps you thinking and keeps you wanting to see more and not thinking you figured it out.
For all those people out there that want the new thing, or are looking for just something out of the ordinary, this movie is perfect for that, you know.
And the actors you got for each character was perfect. I do have to say real quick though, for the science character, did you know beforehand? I read, I don't know, there was from Sheree's article or somewhere else that Neil deGrasse Tyson was kind of a influence there, or inspiration.
Absolutely. So
the scientist or the inspiration.
Yeah, I'll go into that. I used to work at the teaching company, which was renamed as the Great Courses. And then right now they're going by a weird name, Wonderium. I don't quite know. But point is they've been working with Neil deGrasse Tyson since 1996. And I used to live in Virginia. That's where I'm from. And Chantilly, Virginia is the headquarters. And that's where they would bring professors from all around the world and they would film their courses and talk about a wide variety of topics from science, religion, philosophy, math, you know, history, XYZ. And Neil deGrasse Tyson was one of the premier, one of the premier professors there. And so I was listening to him. So I knew Neil deGrasse Tyson when I was working there like a decade ago. I knew about Neil deGrasse Tyson before anyone knew about Neil deGrasse Tyson. Like I was the first on the street. Like this is 2010. I knew about the guy before he blew up. And I was just amazed. And once again, it's always great when you know, speaking as a person of color, it's always great when you can see people who look like you, who are doing things that you would like to do or that you're interested in, no matter if you're Black, Latino, Afro-Cuban or Afro-Latino, whatever the case may be, African-American, you know, whatever, Latin. It's when you can see people who look like you, talk like you, that's always going to be, you know, exciting. So yes, Neil deGrasse Tyson is a huge influence on me, and I kind of took the negative. I try to think like, what's something like negative? If you were to have this great Neil deGrasse Tyson person, like, what if you did something? What if you did the inverse of that? What would that person be like? And so that was kind of some of the inspiration. But yes, Neil deGrasse Tyson, huge inspiration on me, 100%.
I love that. I love that so much, and that it comes from a personal place as well. That's awesome. Okay, so obviously we really like this movie a lot. So we're going to be putting the link to wherever we can find it in our show notes for our listeners, because we want them to see this movie. And I'll mark where I spoiled it for anybody.
Okay.
I want to come back to something that you did. I can't remember. I think it was 2016, and it was the documentary of the wedding.
Oh, okay.
That was so
Wow. You
beautiful.
went
That
deep.
was
Yeah,
so
it is.
that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
so very different than everything else. It's
Yeah.
well, first of all, it's a documentary, and the subject matter also very different. That was beautiful. How did you get to doing that?
Yeah. So I have a really good friend of mine, TC, whom I met in Argentina, and he was telling me that his sister was getting married, and that they want to do something different in terms of documenting their experience. And so I I wanted to do, and at that time when we did it, what was very popular, and it's still popular now, but short docs were very, very popular online. Just doing short docs, just kind of 5 to 15 minute docs. And I was like, so I pitched them saying, I was like, hey, how about we just do a doc on your experience, your wedding, and it's very niche. Maybe I'm not. I'm trying to be also sensitive to this because maybe that's not how it should be, but it's very niche when you have not just a lesbian couple getting married, and then not just a lesbian couple getting married in the South, but then also have a lesbian couple in the South getting married who are Black. And
Right.
that was a very unique thing
Yeah.
and that I felt needs to be told.
Oh
And
yeah.
and it's a very young couple.
Hmm.
They're not like in their 50s, like they've been waiting 20, 25 plus years to do this. They're like in their early to mid 20s doing this. And I just kind of felt like, oh wow, this seems like an interesting story
Hmm.
to document, and I wanted to tell it. And I hope people got something from it and have a better um, kind of a more varied
Hmm.
interpretation of what love can be
Yeah.
if they're not open to it.
Hmm.
Hopefully through watching that
Yeah.
little small doc, that they'll be a little more open to how love can be interpreted to a
Yeah.
wide variety of different people. So that was the
Yeah.
main aim. Yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful, and like what you said. It's a young Black lesbian couple in the South,
Yeah.
and it doesn't look like a wedding video, and that's what I love about it. But yet
Yeah.
you feel it all. The family
Yeah.
talking about them, the friends talking about them talking with each other, to each other, about each other. I loved it. It was beautiful, and then the location they chose. Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Everything
Yeah.
was so nice. I
Yeah.
really I fell in love with them just watching. I was like, "Oh, this is
Yeah.
nice. I love this." Everybody wants that type of love.
Yeah.
So
In
I
South
watch it.
Carolina. I mean, that's
Yeah.
where they did it. And so that's
Yeah.
also something, you
So
know.
that's really cool that you did that. So like I said, I mean, when I was looking at the different things you've done, your background is very varied. And so and I think that's awesome, because I think sometimes people feel like they're pigeon-toed into one area, or they feel like they have to choose one specific genre or whatever. And you seem to go where you feel creatively called, or where you feel like you can, tell that story. And and you do it well, which is and I think more people should do that. If they shouldn't feel like they have to only do horror or only do documentaries or whatever. And I think you're doing a great job. And I can't wait. With the old dog, that sounds fun too, and very different. So I
Yeah.
can't wait to watch that one too.
Yeah, I would love to come back for sure. It's I feel like talking to you, Dahlia, is like the best therapy I've ever. I feel like you know everything about me. Yeah, that's and maybe that's kind of the reason why I feel like it's better for me to be on a solo kind of mission where I can
Hmm.
kind of tell the stories that I want to tell as they come. And I think you
Yeah.
pinned me precisely as to like what I like doing and who I am. And I don't, you know, I'm going to use a metaphor here, but just like people may identify it in a wide variety of different ways. It may be very fluid in a very wide variety of different ways. When it comes to stories and storytelling, I'm very much like that,
Yeah. Hmm.
and I'm not just one thing,
Hmm.
I'm many things all at one time, expressing myself through this. One way I may be this today, and then maybe tomorrow, maybe this,
Yeah.
and at least that's how I've been able to connect and understand other people's stories and how they're
Hmm.
experiencing the world. But as a storyteller, I'm constantly genre fluid, and I may be in horror, I may be in sci-fi, I may be in drama, I may be in documentary. I mean, last year I wrote and directed a docu-series called Beer Run, which is all about, it's a docu-series about craft beer during the pandemic, and and businesses shutting down, but then people still wanting to connect and share and express and the love of craft beer making. So I'm many things. So yeah, you got me 100%. This is I should send you a check or something for maybe you'll bill me for the therapy. But yeah, you got me. That's what I am.
Well, yesterday, Alma and I were talking about, because we were discussing the book and the movie, The Picture of Dorian Gray, and Oscar Wilde talking about himself being the the main characters in his book. And we're talking about, because you're not just ever one thing. You're not ever just one.
They're very different personalities, but it's just wonderful to see you're unafraid of exploring everything around you, because that's how we keep things new and interesting. Everybody's always looking for something new and interesting, and the fact that you can delve into that, and I think that's great that you've been able to make those projects as well come to life, even though they're so varied. Because you don't see that a lot, but it's what we all want to see.
Yeah. All right. So we have taken so much of your time tonight, but yes, I definitely would love, Alma. I know Alma would too. And hopefully my camera is working better next time. We would love to talk to you again in the future after we've seen Old Dog, because that would be so much fun to talk to you after that one. Alma, have some questions because we are a horror movie podcast, and I'm having Alma ask in case my camera goes bye-bye again.
Okay. So we always ask these. Is there a favorite horror movie that you enjoy? A classic, something you go to, a comfort horror movie or anything?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't necessarily go to horror for comfort, but I do go to horror for inspiration. But I want to answer it in two different ways. I do want to answer your question. Let me first answer the question in the first thing that popped in my mind. When I think of horror, when I think of what's terrifying for me, when I think of what inspires me, but also is kind of creepy, is when I was a 10-year-old and I watched The Exorcist for the first time. So that's kind of like, now I know that's very different watching it now. And I think it still kind of holds up a little bit. Some of the stuff is a little theatrical, but I think it still holds up. But if I had to give someone another recommendation, I would say The Conjuring. The first Conjuring is pretty spooky, and definitely for Not Alone, we definitely kind of got a lot of inspiration from that. The Conjuring. So a horror movie that comforts me. I would have to say the first thing that pops into mind, and I don't know why I'm saying this, I don't know if it makes any sense, has to be Gremlins.
Oh my gosh, we just covered that one. Here's the thing, it's because comfort is something different to everyone. And the reason it's an interesting question to ask, because it matters to you. Like, it's something that you might go to. It might be your go-to horror movie. It might be something that you enjoy because it's just nostalgic. So it kind of puts you in a certain state of mind. But we just did an episode on Gremlins, and I get that nostalgia. Yeah. Remembering being a kid and thinking the Mogwai was real.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But that's exactly, because it's like I could never name just one movie. So you just think of like, when we ask what's your favorite, what's inspired you, or what is the comfort, it's because they're just different. That way you can think of different movies that you enjoy. But definitely,
although my comforts are always messed up.
Yes,
it depends. You're right. It depends on what you like, because I think I have the literal interpretation of comfort. So that's why I'm like, oh yeah, the Gremlins. That's a fun, especially for Christmas. People don't think, I think Gremlins is kind of a Christmas movie in a way. But yeah, I'm curious, Dalia, what kind of sickness you got going on over there?
I love Rob Zombie.
I was gonna say
The
Devil's
Devil's
Reject.
Reject.
Oh, that is freaking wild. Beautiful movie though. It looks cool.
It looks
Um,
great. I love that movie. I love rooting for the bad guy, even though they're horrible.
Yeah.
I think I tell people this all the time though. I think I just really like Rob Zombie and his wife Sherry Moon Zombie. I just love her.
Yeah.
So maybe that has more to do with it, but definitely that's. I know it's weird, but I like that movie. It's just for me. It's just like it's a good cry at the end. It's like, oh, wait a minute, am I crying for the bad guy?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great.
We love zombie horror movies as my family comfort movies. I don't know, we get really into them, and it's just
Return of the Living Dead.
Return of the Living Dead is our ultimate favorite, and it's just it's something different to everybody. And I think for me, comfort is usually something you've seen a bunch, therefore enjoy it. And there you can throw it on and you pay attention to it, and you just kind of just can forget about everything else.
For sure.
Is there I have one more question about, is there a dream person that you would love to work with on any of your projects?
Wow, that's a really good question.
And we should do this as like, if you could pick somebody from like the past too, like
dead or alive.
Yes, because
let me say it's someone who alive, because I do want to speak something into existence. It's almost overwhelming. I think, wow, that's such a great question. I think the person, I'll choose a guy and I'll choose a woman as well. I think I would really like to work with Javier Bardem.
Ooh,
I think that would be something.
And you did say that you love that movie.
Yeah, like I think working with Javier Bardem, I could do something really interesting.
And he's great.
Oh, you're making a face too. You're like, oh, I got.
Yeah, I think
getting ideas.
I think I could bring some kind of. I think I could bring some kind of sickness.
That's the word I was going to use.
Yeah, because he's pretty sick
and demented.
Yeah, he can go dark. Let's also choose a lady as well. I'm just gonna come out and say it. I'm just coming up with what comes to mind. But you want to know someone who'd be really dangerous, who could come up with something really amazing? Kate Winslet.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I love her. She can do no wrong with me.
Kate Winslet is pretty dangerous.
I love her.
I would go so far to say that I think she's underrated. I don't think, I know everyone's in love with Meryl Streep, but she is Meryl Streep in her 40s. You know, she is extremely gifted. I think I could do some serious damage with her. Like I could really, I think if we just got together in a room, we could come up with something like wild. Because you're dealing with someone who. I'm sorry. What were you about to say?
Oh, no, I was going to say, and I love it that we thought of horror, because a lot of times when I want to see, like in a movie, and it's someone that you usually don't see in a horror, it piques my interest. It's like when Sandra Bullock did the Bird Box.
Oh, which I loved.
Yeah,
I thought she was incredible.
What's Sandra Bullock doing in that movie?
I was like, this is one of the best movies she's made since Gravity, and before that, it was Speed. Like, and maybe some people would argue that football movie that she did, but no, I mean, you're right. What was it called? It was Bird Box.
The Bird Box.
Bird Box.
Bird Box. Yeah, like that was. I watched that, and that was when Netflix. They were first putting out their like horror movies or doing these Netflix features.
Yeah.
And I was watching. I was like, this is legitimately not just good, but my heart is pounding. Like I am like, I need to figure out. I need to figure out what happens. Like this was like, it was solid. You're absolutely. I had the same feeling that I had when I watched Gravity.
That's such
also,
a good one.
which can be interpreted as a horror movie as well, just in a different kind of setting.
That's how my husband sold it to me. He was
For me,
Even
outer
before I
space
watch
is
it.
always scary.
Outer
Always
space
Well,
scary.
is
it
the
is.
scariest.
It is.
Well, like right now, did you see Sandra Bullock in that recent one on Netflix? Oh my
I
God.
haven't watched it yet. It's on
I
my watch
haven't
list.
watched it either.
Watch it.
Wait, what she
It's
got?
so very different.
Yes,
She's
it looks
an
like a
ex-con.
drama.
She's an
Oh,
ex-con. You have to watch it.
oh, okay.
Speaking of playing someone that you're not used to seeing, oh
Mhm.
my God, it's
Yeah,
just so good. It's so good.
yeah.
But watch it
But yeah,
anyways.
but yeah,
Sorry.
Kate Winslet is my
Yeah.
that is secretly someone I would just
Oh, now I'm
melt
just sitting here thinking
to
of Kate
work with.
Winslet and like something horror. Like I love her. I really do. There's
She has so much emotion.
Yeah.
She has, and what I would like when you think of a Kate Winslet character, you automatically know she can't be this victim. You know,
Mhm.
she's a doer. She's a taker of action.
Yeah.
So it almost pushes the narrative in a more active state. You know, it
Mhm.
just because she's so powerful on screen.
Yeah.
She just emotes so much. So
Mhm.
yeah, her and Javier Bardem, I feel like, and the reason why I say Javier Bardem is because maybe the Coen brothers already did it with No Country for Old Men,
Oh my
but he was
God.
terrifying in that movie.
I
He
cannot.
was
That movie.
terrifying.
Oh, nightmares. I get nightmares still from that movie. Oh
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
this character,
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't do it. It gives me heart palpitations every time
Yeah,
I think about it.
yeah,
He did so good.
yeah. It's a lot of anxiety looking at him.
Well, thank you so much for just answering all our ridiculous questions. I really appreciate it. We really enjoyed our conversation. Like I said, we're going to have to ask you back so that we can talk more. Okay, so where can everybody find you? Follow along with what you got going on, future projects, all of that good stuff. Social media.
Yeah, best place to reach out to me would be directing underscore Cezil. So just directing underscore in my name. I'm pretty much the only Cezil, Cezil. Very easy to find me. You can always find me on IMDb if you just want to stay up on what I'm doing. So that's one way. And yeah, I think that's probably the best. Every now and then I'm on Twitter, but Instagram is definitely the best way.
Okay, cool. And of course, we'll have that all on our show notes. And Alma, where can everybody find us?
Ours is pretty easy peasy. You can go to our website at nightmaremoviepodcast.com. You can email us at nightmaremoviepodcast@gmail.com. Our Instagram is at nightmaremoviepodcast. Our Twitter is it's Nightmare on Fifth, at Nightmare on Fifth. That's 5th. I stumbled for once. These are things that I've
That's the first
memorized.
time you ever did that. And we have a letterboxd now, letterboxd.com/nightmare movie. And of course, we have a Patreon if you'd like to monetarily support us, patreon.com/nightmare movie podcast. And if you want to buy us coffee, buymeacoffee.com/nightmarepod. Thank you so very much, Cezil. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your night, actually, because it's nighttime. We've had so much fun. And again, like I said, we're going to have you back, and hopefully my camera won't be doing this weird glitching, which is never done before. Speaking of the Matrix, that's what's going on.
Hey, sometimes that's why it is. You never know. Watch out for black cats.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You have a black cat? Oh, yeah. The Matrix, we're in it.
I made him leave.
Oh, that's what caused it.
What the difference is.
He's always in the room when we record.
It's my fault. Sorry.
Well, again, thank you so much, everybody. Until next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.